I didn't expect my life to take this turn, but maybe none of us do when we find ourselves unraveling. It started so simply, with two people who believed they'd found something lasting. I met Alex when I was 27, on a random spring afternoon. We were both stuck at a mutual friend's brunch, and neither of us really wanted to be there. He made a joke about the undercooked pancakes, and I laughed so hard I snorted. We kept talking, and before I knew it, we were leaving together, wrapped up in easy conversation, and walking through the park, losing track of time. From there, things moved fast. It felt right. Effortless. We fell in love, got married a couple of years later, and rented a tiny, character-filled apartment with a rickety balcony covered in string lights. We'd sit out there on summer nights, sharing a bottle of wine and dreaming about the future we were going to build, a little house of our own, travel adventures, and maybe, one day, a family. We were that couple that everyone thought had it all together. Friends would say we were perfect, like we were still in the honeymoon phase. And, for a while, I believed it. I loved him with everything I had, and I thought he loved me back with the same certainty. We shared everything, or at least, that's what I thought. I was so wrapped up in the life we were building, the future we were creating, that I didn't notice the cracks that had started to form. It started with little things. He'd get home later from work, his explanations vague. He'd become absorbed in his phone, a small, flashing screen that I started to see as a wall between us. At first, I tried not to think much of it. People get busy, they get distracted. But as the months passed, a dull ache started to settle in my chest. It was as though I was slowly losing something precious, piece by piece, and I couldn't quite grasp what was slipping away. Then came the day I stumbled upon a message. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon, and he'd left his laptop open on the kitchen counter. I wasn't snooping, I had no reason to. But there it was, glowing on the screen, an email full of flirtatious exchanges with someone I'd never heard of. I remember the way my hands trembled as I scrolled through the words, how my vision blurred with tears that wouldn't stop coming. The truth was right there, shattering everything I thought I knew about us. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. He didn't even seem surprised. He said he was sorry, but his voice was hollow, as if he'd been expecting this confrontation for a while, as if he'd rehearsed it in his mind. The love in his eyes, the love I had always relied on, seemed extinguished. I felt my heart shatter in slow motion, like a vase slipping off a table and crashing into 1,000 irreparable pieces. The weeks that followed were a mix of rage, heartbreak, and a desperate attempt to make sense of what happened. I kept replaying our happiest memories, wondering how we'd gone from slow dances in the living room to this emptiness, this betrayal. I wanted to hate him, but the memories of our love kept softening my anger into this painful longing for what once was. But I knew staying wasn't an option. I packed up my things, stuffing my life into suitcases and boxes, feeling like a ghost wandering through the ruins of our love. I moved out, finding a small studio apartment across town. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and it was a start. The silence there was deafening at first. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the unfamiliar creaks and noises of my new place, wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. Healing wasn't a straightforward journey. It never is. There were nights I'd cry until I fell asleep, days when I felt angry at myself for not seeing the signs sooner. But little by little, I started to rediscover who I was. I decorated my apartment with thrift store finds, played my favorite songs on repeat, and went to coffee shops with a book in hand, simply because I could. One day, as autumn painted the city in hues of orange and gold, I found myself standing on a bridge overlooking the river. The air was crisp, and the leaves danced in the wind, reminding me that change is natural, that seasons come and go, and that life has a way of healing, even when it feels impossible. I took a deep breath, feeling a flicker of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. I'm still learning how to trust, how to let go of the past and embrace whatever comes next. Some days, I still feel the sting of what I lost. But I also know that I'm stronger now, more resilient. Life didn't go the way I planned, but it's still moving forward, still full of possibilities I haven't yet discovered. My heart, though bruised and scarred, is still beating, still open to the hope that one day, love will find me again, real, honest, and unbreakable.